We're
Actually,
live.
I fucked
We're
it up.
loud. We're here.
We're proud.
We're parsing.
Well,
Foxy,
some of us are.
say the word. Say the words.
Just do the thing. It's so much pressure, dude. You're running your big chance here, kid.
And we back again, boys. Roll out.
I'm gonna kill myself.
In the game, of course.
Jesus Christ.
To a raid bossy means not IRL.
That TOS.
Don't worry. I'll figure something out and post that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
What kind of guitar is your favorite? What kind of voice?
I only like guitar 2. Okay. I don't
Electric.
like guitar 1. The stick was
Electric
always the best.
guitar.
Anyways, welcome to the Parts Monkeys podcast number 8. We have been doing this for 2 fucking months. Oh my god. And we are still keeping it
Professionals.
strong, going with our professional setup, our professional lighting, and our clearly not botched cameras that keep fading out in 20 seconds. So,
No tie,
right
no
into it.
interest.
We're gonna get right into it. Shut the fuck up!
Hey, I'm listening. Go ahead.
We're gonna get right into it with our weekly summary. Just our thoughts and feelings on this week. You know,
We call them women, Benji.
shut up. Anyways, eating my candy. So I did have a question, Brian. I wanted to get your opinion on it, and then it might apply to what Foxy does as well.
Go.
Benji, Rio, you're a rising star,
I
and he's out of control. Yes, you're out of control. You are contempt of this court. Yeah. Okay, so this week I got a 365 shield, right? It had mastery and versatility on it, right?
Okay.
My current shield was a 310 with haste and mastery.
It's very exciting.
So that's 55 item levels higher. So even though I'm losing haste, right?
No way.
Yeah.
Not enough upgrade.
Yeah, it's still worth it to actually put the fucking thing on, right?
Full the resident sleeper.
You're a resident sleeper, you dumb bitch.
Holy shit! This story's going somewhere. I can feel it.
Anyways, at what point, Brian, does the item level outweigh haste? And at what percentage is that at with haste?
I mean, if your stats scale as hard as that particular Holy Paladin build, then it's gonna be pretty difficult. But I mean, most people's secondary stats don't scale that hard, right? So, I feel like if it's 15 item levels or more, and it's not a piece of jewelry, then it's probably an upgrade. But if it's a ring or a back piece, and it's fighting against like a socket or like a secondary stat, tertiary stat that's really big for you. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I putting you guys to fucking sleep? Get Full on the podcast. You know what? If Full wants to come on the goddamn podcast, he can. Okay. Sorry. Anyways, because rings don't have primary stats and like basically sockets and tertiary stats are weighted really high on them. So and proper stats obviously. So it's just weird. Like if you don't have a stat weight add-on, then you're probably shit out of luck to try to calculate it on your own. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. So
Yeah, because we had so Nature got a 35 item level upgrade on his wrist, but it took away haste. He lost 2% haste. So would you say that 2% haste loss is worth the 35 eye level upgrade on the item?
I would have to see
He
it.
went from 25 to 23%, pretty much.
I'd have to see it in game. I have a stat weight add-on. I can't just tell you right off the bat. I don't know what both stats were on the items. 35 item level, it might be even. That's where we're at in the game right now. So here's the problem if we're going down this road. All Azurite gear only has primary stats, so that naturally devalues the value of your primary stat because you already have so much of it. Whereas you have 3 of your largest pieces of gear not providing secondary stats, so the items that you do get to pick secondary stats on, it's that much more important you get the right ones. They literally cause the opposite problem. It was a .08 downgrade. Yeah, see, almost even, literally almost even. And this is Blizzard's attempt to make item level more relevant, but they actually fucked it up. Every time they try to fix something, they actually manage to make it worse. It's impressive, honestly. They're like, we're gonna make primary stat your most important thing, so that's why we stuck it on your 3 largest pieces of gear and took away the secondaries. Oh, wait a second, that's not how the math works. Like, now we cause the opposite problem. Wait, you mean by giving us so much primary stat and then starving us of secondaries, you actually made secondaries more precious and more important? Who would have thunk?
I mean, it's funny because all I'm doing is I'm just taking shit that procs secondary stats, you know, like the haste thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you can control when those procs, that's nice. But as like a healer, I would rather just have like a flat mount. But I mean, hey, when the shit procs and you actually need it, you feel like a god. But when it doesn't proc, when you actually need it, and it procs. I'm sorry. Did I hurt you, Benji?
No, I was masturbating. Anyways,
mid podcast.
So that.
Holy shit!
No, that's.
Who's putting math in here?
I don't know why I fuck.
You gonna be okay?
Anyways, what was I gonna say? Anything from you, Foxy? Anything you wanted to, like, just things you noticed this week? Something you wanted to address? Rants?
Before we get to the Q&A.
No.
Nothing at all.
I got a trinket from my cache that is utterly useless, but I have to keep it my highest item level. But I won't put it on because it's in semi stat weights, so it's generally pretty much. If something's within a 5 or 10 eye level upgrade, it's potentially an upgrade, and anything higher than that is always an upgrade. So
interesting.
DPS life.
And you can sim all your shit.
Other than that,
and you can sim, yeah.
Yeah, that's because like DPS have a set rotation, right, where healers don't. So.
Well.
Other than that, M plus is pretty good this week.
Okay.
Hell yeah, brother.
So, there was a lot of shit that happened this week, actually. The blue... well, first of all, the patch notes hit, and we actually had a lot of changes roll out. And it didn't actually feel like it made that much of a difference, I'll be completely honest.
We had our first mythic week.
That's true. Yeah.
That was fun to watch.
We're 2 out of 8, right? There's 8 bosses. Yeah. We wiped for 4 hours because of Mother being bugged to beams, and we lost 5 members in our guild.
Wait, what was the bug?
I have a clip of the bug, but...
Oh, do you guys want to talk about the drama this week? We can, right? It's nothing like crazy.
What drama?
Okay, we can do a short little story about it. Okay.
Guild drama?
Well, I won't drop any names, but essentially, we had a 3-pack, or 4-pack, depending on how you look at it, of players. One of the players was underperforming. I'd say one of the other players has just generally a bad attitude. So when we benched a player for one time, like, benching doesn't mean you're out of the game. It just means we're going to try somebody else for a different pool. They lost their goddamn mind, and essentially 3 people decided on the spot they're going to all leave the guild in the raid. Personally, I was not really that upset about 2 of them. Like, I didn't really like them, so it didn't really make a difference to me. And honestly, one of them just sucked. So the only person I was upset about leaving came back. So everything's good for me personally. The other person was kind of like our shot caller for raid. Made up some like drama, and then some names were exchanged. The N-word may or may not have been said. The dog word may or may not have been said. And so he quit the guild. It's been an exciting week.
Wait, who came back?
Dizzy's came back.
Oh.
Yeah, which is like the only person I liked anyways. So.
I didn't really like him.
You didn't like him?
Dizzy's is cool.
Dizzy's was actually good, and didn't randomly troll the chat or the comms, so that was nice. Parse Monkey's Trash Talk Cast. Okay,
Hell yeah,
You
brother.
call it trash talk. I'm just giving my honest opinion. We're talking
Hey,
about the drama.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Fuck Neko. Yeah.
Oh
you heard
shit, dude! Now it's real
Me.
trash talk.
Yeah. Fuck you, you sexy ass motherfucker.
We are derailing. Anyways, so yeah, we like lost 5 members, but then only really lost 4, sort of.
Fair hymns, yeah.
So it's been an interesting week. Mother, I feel like definitely made some high tensions. Like it caused a lot of issues. Because
Is mother as hard for you guys as it should be?
Rank 1, by the way.
Or should it be
okay,
a lot
if
easier?
the beams didn't bug.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Finish what you're saying.
Okay, if the beams didn't bug, we would have had that boss killed in an hour, like easy, like less than an hour, honestly. Like our guild was actually performing, I think, better than I've ever seen it. I'll be honest. We were doing quite well. Everything was doing really good. It was just we were all getting triggered by beams, and just how it was. I mean, I bet a lot of guilds were getting triggered. I mean, obviously the best guilds in the world still cleared the boss with the bugs. So, but yeah, I got some decent parcels off the first boss. I think Foxy here got rank 1 on the second boss.
So exciting announcement.
Yep.
Brian was rank 1 on Taluk.
Thank you.
And then Foxy didn't get rank anything on the first boss. But on the second boss, he was rank 1.
Yeah, and I didn't get shit.
Low DPS.
There it is, dude.
Poggers in the
Good shit.
chat.
I don't see a single poggers.
They didn't install it, that's why. They need to install
Oh, they don't. Yeah, you gotta install poggers,
it.
dude.
Go find it, download it, and install it.
What do you think of the mythic fight so far, Foxy?
I
feel like
they didn't really feel like mythic outside of the beam.
So the beam bug, right?
Like the first boss, I would expect to be like, you know, pretty fucking easy, just flops, loot pinata. Second boss, I think it would have flopped, except for when you have 7 people in your raid, just instantly die out of nowhere to a mechanic that hasn't even spawned yet. And,
Yeah.
That's a little frustrating. Other than that, I mean, we haven't even gotten to the third boss or done one pull on it, so there's not really much to say at the moment. But from watching some other streams, it seems very interesting. Some of the fights, at least, on the thing.
Yeah. Healing wise, I found the first bosses already so much more fun than heroic. Like there was actually stuff to do, and it felt good, and there was timings, and you could predict things, and it felt good. Actually, Mother was a really fun challenge. Trying to keep the tank alive while, you know, not getting caught into the fire, dodging everything, being aware of what groups are going through when, like, are people topped up enough? Like, it was a lot of fun. I felt like it was pretty much like you could send people as fast as your healers could take it. I actually like that. So, but yeah, so far so good. Mother bugs. Resident Sleeper. Volt needs healing. Oh yeah, dude. It was really funny. If our Death Knight tank didn't dodge, like, or parry 3 times in a row, there's a really good chance he just died. like if he needed to at least parry 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 attacks, but like sometimes you just get really bad RNG and then you just hear him screaming, bark me, I need a cooldown, heal me, Lightwater. I'm like, panicking. Like, everybody else is at like 20%. I'm like, I need a miracle. So it was good though, worked out. I think I let him die 1 time. And then all of a sudden, 1 death is all it took, and people were like, do we need to start changing up some things, Lightwater? I don't think you can handle it over there. I'm like, okay, let's calm down here. 1 death, okay? 1 death. But yeah, it's been fun. However, I think the game right now is in a terrible state, and I think the AmA is proof of that. I don't think I've ever seen Reddit come out in such like strong force, with the exception of like maybe when Blizzard sicked the lawyers after Nostralius.
Yeah. So before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any other comments or things you want to mention about the week so far?
I don't know. There was that random boss that we got to kill, the world PvP boss thing. That was actually a really cool fight, except that if your group was halfway decent, you killed in like 10 seconds. We got to actually see the mechanics because We tried to 2-man it. That didn't work. Little dudes come out and start repairing it. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, there just seems like a lack right now of stuff to do in the game besides just grinding Mythic Plus. Like, that's all we do. I guess if there was a bunch of stuff to do, we literally wouldn't have time to do it because that's all we're doing is Mythic Plus. So,
Round first chasing.
round first what?
Chasing.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, trying to chase that key.
True.
14 done.
Has
You
someone
guys are close.
has someone done a 15 on our server?
15 on our server. No, everyone else has done a 14, and we're the only group that's done a 14 in time. So.
I don't know if I can turn Foxy up, but.
Hello, testing.
Oh, oopsies. Professional streamer, by the way. Wait, did it fuck it up? Okay, we're good. There we go. I'll turn you guys up a little bit more. Okay. But yeah, I mean, things are going okay. Why you guys, hello? Benji, are you okay?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, look dead. Foxy's, hello?
I'm trying to mess with my mic, dude. I don't know. People
Okay.
say my mic's doo-doo lately, and I haven't touched it.
I feel like something changed. I feel like all of a sudden, like, I don't know.
I mean, my mic's just fine.
I was looking pretty handsome there for a second. What happened?
You existed.
Did you, you had one eye open or what?
Okay, so let's move on to
Swing?
the Reddit post that went up in complete flames, apparently. So, amidst the
First
So
of all,
what- okay,
why do you
hold
think
on,
they did
hold on.
this?
You know what Asmongold was
Well-
saying before on Twitter? He was like, they need to address the community in some way, right? And this was amidst the people having a lot of issues already in the game, and there being mumblings going around of just rumors of what's been happening since pre-beta, you know,
Mhm.
or like since beta. I mean, them ignoring players and having that whole "we know what's best for you" mentality. That
Mhm.
kind of got us WOD in the first place. But it was funny because after I saw that Asma tweet, I then see the Reddit post like a day later, you know. So it's almost like it was kind of like anticipated at that point, you know what I mean? But as to why they did it, I feel like
The Q&A, or
I think they were so disconnected from their community that they thought that they had all the answers, and they thought what they were going to tell us
I have a theory.
wasn't going to make sense, or like they were gonna speak and we would all just be like, "Oh, Almighty Blizzard, yes, you are correct."
I think.
Hold
that-
on, Foxy first.
Oh,
Foxy
okay.
first.
as in why they did the Q&A in the first place, or?
Yeah. Why would they address the
well,
community?
I mean, I'm an avid browser of Reddit, and I probably look at Reddit for about an hour in bed every single night. And literally over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, it's just been shitpost after shitpost of flaming the new mechanics and systems they put in place in BFA. So I kind of just think to, calm the storm, they just had to at least address, some issues that people seem to be having within the game.
All right, Brian.
Okay. So I have a theory. I think that they were like the dog in in the meme where it's like the dog in the house, it's on fire, and they're like everything's
Yep.
fine, this is okay, right? And they got a rude wake up call when whoever's in charge of finances or whatnot was like, hey, a tenth of our subscriber base has quit, overnight. I honestly think they probably lost a tenth of their subscriptions recently, and they were like, yeah, this is not good, you need to address the people, right? Whoever's in charge of the stocks and shit is just yeah, this shit's going down, dude. I felt like it was a dumpster fire, and this is damage control, and it's so damage control that they already this is how bad an AMA is, right? When you do an AMA but you already answer 15 questions
Half the questions are just copy-paste.
before the players get to, before anybody is allowed to answer, they have 15, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 14 16 17 fucking pre-written out wall of text for glaring issues in the game. Like, Azerite armor, shamans, island expeditions, raids, warfronts, mythic plus, and there's more responses that aren't just these. It's like everything's a problem right now in the game. Like, there's so many issues right now. Like, I would say this might be the first time in 10 years where the casual community is more angry at Blizzard than the hardcore community.
Really?
I think so. That's the vibe I'm getting. Because typically, we are the ones complaining, and it's the casual community's like, you just need to learn how to have fun, right? But we have the stuff we like. We have our raids. We have our Mythic Plus. Yeah, it's not really worth our time, but we do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Mythic Plus is worth our time. The raiding, maybe not so much. They made PvP drop about the same fucking item level of loot if you're really good. So we feel a little bit, screwed there. But I say if you aren't a hardcore raider, Mythic Pluser, or PvPer, you probably hate the game. So that's 90% of their player base, I'd say. I think 90% of what World of Warcraft's player base right is absolute casuals. Like the LFRs. Like, so if they don't have LFR to do, and they've already grinded all of their rep, what do you think they're doing in the game right now? Nothing. There's nothing for them. Like, there were so many posts about them being angry about mounts. Like, that's the world they live in. They care about transmog and mounts, and all the transmog is horrendous. All the mounts are just laughable. The response to the mounts was even more laughable. There's just so many issues right now with the game, and I think that like they were like, Ian, get out there and save it. And Ian's like, please, sir, I want to live. And they pushed him out the fucking door and closed it. And they're like, talk to the people. And he's like, no, let me back in. Like, it just felt like that. Like they drew straws, and Ian got the shortest straw, dude. I feel so bad for him.
For real.
And like, people. I mean, I think it was you, right? Who was saying he used to be a lawyer or something. But it really shows in these responses. Like, he did an incredible job, essentially trying to answer all this shit. But I don't think the people can be quelled. Like, I don't think the people can be satisfied. I think everyone's just so angry. Some of these responses are just like crazy. But I'll let you go ahead and carry us through this step by step if you want, Benji. But yeah, that's my opinion. Sorry for the long-winded answer.
No, you're good. I'm used to it at this point. Anyways, so obviously one of the biggest issues was the Azerite armor and it not a quote-unquote working as intended, right? How the fact that you could equip like a high-level Azerite piece and then just not use it because you couldn't even unlock the trait until you grinded out your heart of the Azeroth piece, which was already a bitch to do because it takes so much artifact power just to do it, But do you guys agree with how bad Azerite armor is currently at this point?
Yeah, I think the guy, was it Dryzart? That guy, I think he hit it right on the nail right on the coffin, so to speak, if that makes sense. Like, essentially, the fact that the whole point of this expansion was that a higher item was supposed to be auto-equipped, but like the traits are sometimes like as much as like 100 to 1 ratio as far as like being useful. Like, literally one trait could be 0.001% DPS increase, or like a 0.5%, or like as much as like a 5% DPS increase, like, or maybe more. So getting the right trait is so much more important than item level. Who cares about item level? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's shut up, Folt. But I mean, and then they gave this long-winded response, but I really wasn't satisfied after I read it. It was just like, yeah, we're wrong. We're working on it. Like, this is the thing that was supposed to replace legendaries, artifact weapons, tier, and you're like, yeah, we fucked up. We're working on it. Like, in my opinion, Azerite gear is this expansion. Like, it's the only thing this expansion really has, like, for us players to really think, like, ooh, what am I going to tinker with? I'll try this, I'll try that. Everything you could possibly ever do to make you different than anybody else is Azerite armor. Like, that's everything. You've sunk all your fucking eggs in the one basket, and your basket sucks.
Yeah.
Like, your shit's terrible. Like, the fact that we only have 2 choices on the ring that matters the most, 2 fucking choices. You created 271 fucking unique choices, but you only let us pick 2 per piece of armor. Like, What a joke, dude. Why is my other specs traits cluttering my piece of armor? Riddle me that. Why do I have to see shadow shit on my Holy Priest? Get the fuck out of here. Give me another choice, dude. Just randomize it. I don't understand why each piece of Azurite armor has set stuff. So if you don't get the one you want, there's no fucking chance that you can get Azurite armor later on that might have your stuff. Like, it blows my mind. It should just be 5 random choices on the first ring on every time. Like, yeah, dude. Everything else is RNG. Just fucking.
I mean,
put the rest of it in, dude.
Part of the X pack, they didn't want that to be the case, so you could farm the piece of gear, but then
you
can't farm the piece of gear unless it's a raid drop. So, I mean, technically you can still get M0 loot, right? But like, there, there's no in between for mythic gear. So like, what I've seen people say is like, why doesn't a 5 key when you complete a mythic keystone 5 or higher have a chance to drop a 355 Azurite piece, a 7 key a 370 piece, and if you complete a 10 in time, you can get a 385 piece from that.
I like that.
Instead of just from your mythic cache, right? So the problem is they say there is a bad luck protection for getting an Azurite piece from your weekly cache that builds up over time. But what's the point of that if it's going to take you, if there's 30 different dungeon pieces of Azurite gear, right? You're just never going to get the ones that you need.
And what's the chance that it even gives you, like you said, gives the one
even
you need?
Even the trait that you need. Right.
And for some specs, like, it's absolutely mandatory. Like, it's just insane. Like
yeah,
the bad,
for
yeah.
For my spec specifically as a rogue, there's a trait that's literally worth 30 to 40 item levels over just any other trait and any other eye level piece of gear.
Also, the decisions at what like level your Heart of Azeroth has to be to unlock what like rings also doesn't seem like it makes much sense. It's like, okay, once you reach 18, you've unlocked like the stuff that actually matters, but once you've reached 22, then you've unlocked all your defensives, right? Like, I got 3 things unlocked when I hit 22. Like, I randomly gained Pride Ass. It just seemed like so much of a defense increase when I randomly hit the 22 on my necklace, right? It just doesn't feel very fluid at all. And there's another point somebody pointed out that was like, how come I can get a higher itemable piece of gear, and if my necklace isn't higher, even though it has the same trait I was using on a previous point of gear, like, it doesn't feel very good. Like, imagine having, like, what's that? The Thundering Blast, right? All the DPS love. Imagine having Thunderous Blast, getting a higher piece of gear that has Thunderous Blast on it, but you can't put a point into it.
You can't even use it. Like,
but your character already knows, in theory.
It's a downgrade.
Yeah, your character already, in theory, from like a RP standpoint, already knows how to do Thunderous Blast, right? Like, I realize this game has lost almost all of its RP elements, but like, sometimes, like, it makes more sense to keep those around, even from just a gameplay standpoint, right? Like, it'd be one thing if you couldn't unlock Thunderous Blast 2, right? So you got your new piece of gear, and so it had the Thunderous Blast 1 unlocked, but you unlocked Thunderous Blast 2 at like a certain Azurite necklace level. So you don't feel like it's completely useless. You still want it because it's an item level increase, but like, and just give it a 2 next to it. Like, oh, now I know a higher rank of it. Like rank 2, like bring back ranks, and just for Azurite traits, like, I don't know, there's just so much shit they could do. But instead we have to memorize, oh, this is a higher piece, so it's going to do more. But I don't have it yet. Is it still worth it? It just feels so bad. And the lack of choices is also insane. Like, I think that's why we're so angry, is because you have to target a very certain particular Azurite piece. Like, there is a Bis Azurite piece for you out there. And there's not multiple ones. There's only one. Right? But if it was random, or if we had more choices on the ring, like 5 choices, then there'd be a lot more flexibility for which ones you're actually your Bis. But we don't. We have our other specs, fucking Azurite traits, occupying the space on the ring, grayed out for no reason. Why is it grayed out? That's so lazy. Like, when I switch to a different spec, I should see 5 new choices, and then it should save for that spec only. Right? Like,
yeah.
Is that big of a deal?
Yeah, it just takes some fucking space in your bag too.
Yeah.
And not only that, the way that
give you 5 choices.
No.
That's not even funny. I don't know why I laughed.
I'll give you one big choice.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but okay.
I guess we should move on because there's literally so much more to complain about.
Fucking.
I mean, we could complain about Azurite gear forever.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: is that we kind of talked about it a lot in depth in the last episode, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But because what it really came down to was just we want each trait to feel unique and like special. You know what I mean? In concordance with like your class and spec, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like you're only really ever gonna get there if you really listen to player feedback, but it doesn't really seem like they're doing it. But I would want to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they actually are, and this is just a season, right?
I mean, this is probably as worse as it's gonna get, right? Like,
I sure hope so.
How can they go lower than this?
They can't.
Right? Like, in terms of community feedback, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
How can they screw up even further, right?
Yeah.
I just
like.
Idiot.
Like for all that it's worth, for as much as shit we give Blizzard, like we still want, like cool shit. Okay. So Neko wants to hear cool suggestions. So we'll just talk. Okay. So
I did. I gave him.
Just give me tier back.
Have 5 choices, but it'd be stuff from your actual spec. Double the number of spec choices, right? So on the little wheel on the outside, when there's 5 choices, 4 of them should be for your spec, in my opinion. 1 of them should be a neutral. Right? Or maybe you could have 2 neutrals. I don't care. Just give me 5 choices. And then when I flip over to my other spec, have all new choices for my Azurite gear, right? Much like when you flip over to another spec, you have all new talents that it saves for that spec, right? It's not like if I picked Halo as a Holy Priest, I then am locked into Halo as a Disc Priest, and I have to pay gold to change it. No, it's not how it works. Have rankings for the neutral powers and all the traits, right? So when you get a higher piece of gear, it's not automatically closed off to your character. You just only have the first rank of it. So for example, say you have the Palm talent as your Holy Priest. You go from a 340 to a 355 or 385, and the first ring's locked to you because you didn't farm enough. Well, you still have the rank 1 of the Paraminting talent, and then you'd unlock 2, 3, 4, where 385 would be at, right? It'd be that simple. That'd be really cool. And that's it. That's my suggestion. You guys?
For me personally, like I would want the Azurite traits to kind of help you develop different styles of play in regards to certain spells or certain abilities like weaknesses. So for example, if the Azurite traits would help improve spells like Holy Prism, for example, like for the Holy Paladin, or Bestow Faith, or what was the AoE Hammer Heal? I always forget what it's called. But like Azurite traits that would make those specific spells a little bit more relevant, considering that they're clearly underpowered and no one probably is ever going to take them.
Yeah.
So the Azurite traits could be a way for you to incentivize you to use these other spells and kind of come up with different ways to play your class as a whole. Because I don't believe in kind of like shoehorning a player into just one specific build with something being objectively the best. Like there should be a certain degree of customization when it comes to what you allow the player to do, and I know how kind of daunting that can be, especially like because we don't want is the League of Legends syndrome, right? Where they add all these really cool things to the game, but that they end up kind of having to continually balance the game around these cool things, and then eventually you kind of end up exactly where you didn't want to be. You know what I mean? Like how we got like support specific items and a lot of changes to the game that kind of made it a little bit, too streamlined, because they were afraid of all the unknowns of what would happen when they were adding in all these new items. So, and WoW with the Azurite traits, if they just add in new things that they can say to a degree of confidence, saying, "Oh, this works," I don't know what it would be, but like they're like, "Oh, this works like this well," right? Like say if they give like a certain buff to Holy Prism, they're like, "Okay, cool, let's see what it does put it in the game and see how well it operated within like a week or so, or I don't know how the hell they would test it, but just adding relevancy to talents that would normally be irrelevant. You know what I mean?
So you think they should make Azurite gear that actually affects talents too?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. You know what I mean?
I think that the reason they don't want to do it is because they don't want players to like really. I think that's like that's a decision they made that like because they think super casuals probably won't even like remember to use that talent. I think that like you should be smart enough to figure that out personally. But again, if you had 5 choices on the ring, you could easily sacrifice or have one of those be a talent that only works for a talent or a trait that only works for a talent. I think that would be super cool. Like imagine what's one of your talents, Foxy?
That's like doo-doo, or
That's doo-doo, yeah.
So let's say I'm an outlaw rogue. I could take slice and dice, but in any situation, it's not as good as just taking one of the other talents.
Okay, so imagine there was a talent that said like I don't know, is slice and dice a buff?
Yeah, it's a buff that gives attack speed.
Is it like high uptime?
You can basically have 100. You have 100% uptime.
So maybe like
so basically it replaces roll the bones, right, where the random RNG like element of outlaw is. But I can talent into a consistent like buff to my character. However, it's just not as good in any situation.
Yeah, like imagine they made it to where like while your slice and dice is active, like you like every auto attack you do reduces the cooldown of like X ability by 1 second. Something interesting, right? Where it has like different, where like it affects that, which also affects a different part of your build.
See, I feel like if you're just gonna do something like that, just give us tier back and get rid of this bullshit in the first place.
They're not giving us tier back, so this has to be the fix for it. I feel like so we have to make it like this unique shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but essentially it's the same thing, right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
I
think
actually,
that sounds like a 2-set effect. Oh,
I agree.
Slice and dice does this. Oh,
So
great.
Neko said options should be more clearly better for 1, 2, 3 target situations. For example, 5-man healing, tank healing, burst single target, raid healing.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually think that every class and spec should have like a different build that has a completely different strategy and like gear stacking. Like I want to see like some crazy ass random build come out of like like Holy Priest or whatever. Like, oh, this Holy Priest is a flash shield healer who excels at healing 1 target. Or oh, this is a like I would like to see Azurite gear like complement or almost allow that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and I do agree with what Neko says, and that's kind of like the whole purpose of why I was saying improving certain talent or allowing Azurite traits to improve certain talents and abilities, because they would allow you to kind of find where that certain spell or talent kind of fills that niche in whatever type of situation that you're in. You know what I mean? Like if you were to improve Holy Prison to like, I don't know, like if it applies a hot, you know,
like
based upon
what's Holy
the amount of
Prism's
people around you.
thing holding it back the most? Like mana cost or cooldown or something, right?
Mana cost.
Okay, does it have a cooldown, like a long cooldown? I think it's
Yeah,
like a 20-second cooldown, right? Imagine like each one of the Azurite traits reduced the cooldown and the mana cost.
Oh, that'd be fucking.
That would
great.
be insane, like 5% per, maybe. So if you triple stacked it, you could get 15% reduction on the cooldown or mana cost. You might need to make it a little bit more than that, maybe 10% per Azurite piece, right? That would be kind of interesting. And it only affects a talent. So you obviously would never take the Azurite gear if you weren't taking that talent.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know the warrior ones.
Yes, I like give and take so much, Neko. I would totally be down if Azurite trait said, hey, you do this a little bit worse, but you do this a lot better. I think that would be so cool. And so what you could get is really, really interesting particular builds that are really good at something. But right now, I mean, it just feels like on a lot of characters that I have, you know, it doesn't really matter what I pick. Like, as long as it's one of the good ones, then it's just kind of like whatever. It's like as long as I don't pick the really bad ones, then I'm okay. But I don't feel like they all have the same impact though. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm this particular build, so I have to play this way. None of them change my gameplay at all. Like, that's the problem. So, well, with the exception of what I recently came up with Holy Priest, but I think that's more of like an oversight rather than by design, right? Like I'm playing the Holy Fire build, which is like nobody even knows about. But like that's super weird. I want more shit like that though. That's good. They need a lot more traits like that. Imagine if there was 10 other traits like that, 10 different builds you could go just because of Azurite gear. That'd be so cool. But yeah, I think we should probably get off Azurite gear because, you know, there's actually a lot of shit to talk about.
Okay, so I don't really play it, but you may be able to give some insight into it. But Shaman, why is it so shitty?
I do agree with the response where it was like it just so happened that all three specs ended up being shitty. I don't think Blizzard's like let's screw over shamans, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like shaman's always been such a weird class, and all their specs are weird in general. And I think their excuse was that they wanted to be really careful because all of the shaman specs have really powerful masteries, and they didn't want to like have it get out of control. Like you can see an elemental shaman with the elemental overload getting out of control really easily. You could see a enhancement shaman obviously getting out of control. That's been known to happen. I've never seen a resto shaman really get out of control, but they say they were worried about its mastery being too powerful. But all they ended up with are basically 3 unplayable specs, except for like resto shaman, but it's only brought because of Link, right? Like the class is not desired for its healing and capabilities in the slightest.
One utility totem.
One
That
fucking totem, and that's why
one
it's brought.
fucking totem, dude.
Can you believe having
Look at our mother progression. What did we do? We brought in a shaman for one fucking totem. And
Yeah,
fucking
one
killed the
thing,
boss.
one ability.
Everything else was irrelevant.
2, okay. Yeah, but no one's thinking about, oh boy, we have that res totem, right? Like even though like he did it well and we did always res somebody. Yeah, free res totem. I don't like that utility, so to speak. Like I would rather have, if we brought the resto shaman in, I'd rather him be there because of mana tide totem, because of wind fury totem or something, right? Like if he could have this whole array of totems that all have like 5-minute cooldowns and really important to drop at certain moments, that would be kind of an interesting character. Or maybe he's only allowed to have out, like the old days, one of every element, so he has to choose which totem we have out. That would be kind of cool. Like I'm not opposed to having a buffing class, but the problem is this class is sold to us as if it's a healer, but it's really only brought because of 2 totems. Like, and yeah, okay, fine. Big dick Onk, yeah, okay, and Onk. So you bring the shaman because it can res itself, it can res one other person, and it can literally do Spirit Link totem. But it just doesn't feel good. Like I don't know.
What was that?
It is good in PvP. I will tell you that.
Was that line that they gave you, Brian? That shamans are good because not because they heal, but because, fuck, what was it?
I don't know. It's always the utility argument, right? Yeah. Shamans are not good because they're healing. They're good because of their utility, and it's like, I don't feel like it's so much that everybody wants to bring a shaman. I almost feel like the fights forced us to bring one. Nobody wants to bring one, right? You don't want to bring one. You have to bring one.
Yeah.
That's not a good situation.
Like, let's say Mother, for example, just because it's fresh on our minds. When you send 10 people through the wall and the whole raid would get one shot without the health distribution of the totem, and that's literally the strat you're using to kill the boss, you're just kind of forced to have that at that point.
Well, okay, so it is a whole nother issue, and I don't want to go down this road. But the reason why the Spirit Link totem is so strong there is because of how quickly our health bars jog up and down and how crazy everyone's independent like damage reductions are. So it's so like mismatched about who's going to be taking the most damage or not, right? So we have to split the health, and because of how the healer cooldowns work, they're restoring so much health to so many people. It's like, it's hard to explain, but in my world, you wouldn't need a Spirit Link totem there, because people wouldn't take that much damage instantly, right? In my world, your health bars wouldn't be jogging up and down like a million times until we're done with the Spirit Link. Like, I think that's a failure of design where you have to bring a Spirit Link totem. Like, what were they thinking? Like, I don't know. Oh yeah, also there's the broken ass synergy between darkness and the totem, which is so ridiculous. So, for those of you that don't know, essentially, the darkness gives you I forget what the mischance is.
It's a 20% chance to, I'm showing my Demon Hunter right now, 20% chance to avoid all damage from an attack. So if one person avoids that attack, that's even more health distribution.
Well, that's not the broken part. Right? The broken part is it applies to every single totem tick. Yeah. So also, while you're redistributing the health in the Spirit Link totem, each time it redistributes the health, there's a 70% chance, or 20% chance, that it just doesn't hit you. And because it didn't hit you, it attempts to hit you again. And if you miss again, it attempts to hit you again. And so each portion that you're taking away from the raid essentially raises the raid's health. It's broken as shit. The combination between darkness and totem is by far the two.
It's busted.
It's busted. And so all you have to do is get 1 healing cooldown during that, but obviously 2 is preferable, and your raid survives through almost anything. You know, like, I don't know. It just but it felt so mandatory. Because otherwise, what would we be doing as healers? We'd be overhealing so much there. Like, imagine a non-spirit link, us trying to heal that. It'd be like impossible. And obviously, we can't heal through the barrier. So it just seems like that was designed for spirit link totem. But, you know, what does the shaman do besides drop 2 spirit link totems in that entire fight? Well, I guess they can resurrect themselves and resurrect one other person, but that's it. Besides that, they are dead weight. Like, you could run 10 at a time like other guilds. That's what we did. Or you don't run 10 at a time like other guilds. I mean, I guess we could have decided to go that strat, but once you've gone so far down the progression of one strat, doing any other strat just feels like a complete waste of time, right? So we did like 10, 20 attempts with the Spirit Link Totem strat. Or are we just going to turn around and do a different strat? Like, no. People need to have their same consistent strat, right? And once we had the strat down, we were honestly really good. We were just dying to beam bugs, which would happen in any other strat, right? So
it's just RNG at that point.
It's RNG. So I felt like SLT was required for our strategy, and maybe our healer makeup, especially since we're double tranking there, which, you know, but we're both staying on this side of the barrier. So we'd have to send, like, if we didn't have Spirit Link Totem, essentially 2 tranks would be like 1 trank each. Because if we had a trank on the left and a trank on the right, they're not going to kill the other people on the other side of the room without SLT. Right? So, I don't know. But yeah, Shaman in general just feels really bad. Essentially, they were just like... and so obviously there's been like top name Shamans that have quit the game, sorry. And Blizzard's just like, well, we're sorry about that. You know, there's 36 specializations in the game. What can you do?
Yeah. I mean, so what... Can you really say that a lot of the issues that Blizzard is facing right now are entirely their fault and not something that was... No, but what I'm trying to say is, like, do you think that the people that are currently working there now are kind of dealing with problems that they're inheriting from the past, you know?
Yeah,
like,
but
absolutely.
But like, okay, right? Honestly, Shaman as at least as a healer needs to be completely reworked. The class is boring and unimaginative. It is so rigid, and it has like something like a talent heal that you can choose for every single row. And everybody chooses all the talent heals because the base kit is garbage. None of the talent heals work with your 2 passives. So the class right now has 0 things working properly. It has 2 different types of things that just don't even work together. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the whole class just seems confused. It seems like one person was in charge of designing half the class, and the other person was in charge of designing the other half of the class. And instead, they just designed half of each spec and called it a day. Like, none of it makes any fucking sense. Even elemental and enhancement aren't really making much sense right now. Yeah, so even if they were to buff the numbers, I wouldn't want to play it because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, imagine talenting into something that doesn't get 2 of the passives of your whole class, which your whole class is designed around, right? Tidal waves and resurgence. None of their shit works with it.
Wow.
Right? So even if they were to buff everything up, even if they were to give the class a fat fucking plus 10%, late game, later on, you still feel like shit because none of your stuff would be working properly, right? The class is just busted at the core and needs a rework. Like, Holy Priest got a cool rework, Disc Priests are feeling pretty cool, Monks got a great rework, they feel really cool, Rest of Druids got some really cool quality of life changes, they feel really cool. Paladins have some interesting choices now, they feel pretty decent, although most people are performing on the low end. I generally think the Paladin as a class right now is fine. They just need to buff some of the spells, right? Like, we'll just buff the class of overall healing a little bit, and it'll be fine. But, like, Resto Shaman doesn't need a buff. It needs a rework.
the entire class, I think, needs a rework. So, coming from a DPS perspective, Enhanced Shaman it just feels like Enhanced Shaman's niche is trying to be this AoE sort of burst damage, can swap targets really fast powerhouse, but it just doesn't do that well, and other classes right now and specs do it better. Like Outlaw Rogue. Outlaw Rogue is literally everything an Enhanced Shaman wants to be, but better. Their
Well,
mobility is
yeah.
trash. Like, to walk around and like sprint around, you have to go into a form that prevents you from using any damaging spells.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. The class just feels really bad. I think.
Okay, if
so,
you're... Go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was
No,
just
I
gonna
just
say...
As someone who like kind of wants to play a shaman, just because I think the class has always been cool since I've like been introduced to the game, and like someone like told me what a shaman was. I just feel like they should just base the class entirely around totems and like empowering and buffing allies. Like, give me like elemental shaman, but it's just a buff bot. And
At least that would be unique, right?
Yeah, I would love just to actually sit there and just like put totems on like the melee and like specific range people and empower them. Granted, my DPS on the meter wouldn't be good, but I could, you know, maybe you could statistically see how much DPS you're giving the raid as a whole, you know.
I think that each one of their specs should have a buff that nobody else can get. I think that enhancement should get like Wind Fury, just a totem that can throw down the entire fight. That just helps, like gives everybody like a 5% chance to strike again or 10% chance to strike again. I think the elemental should just get a totem that nobody else can get that increases everyone's spell power or something, or gives everybody like a chance to do more damage. And I think that restoration should just have manatite totem that everybody gets and just constantly increases everyone's mana regeneration. Like that would be the reason you'd bring them. One, like, you know, but because it's just a totem, it's not a buff. You can't just like buff people, right? Like, and I would not have them replaced by those stupid scrolls, dude.
So someone that's never played shaman, right? The only class I can really think of is, well, I guess this could apply to all of them, but you guys obviously have played League of Legends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you guys know the character Udyr, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So imagine if shamans worked like Udyr, where you know how he had a different form that enabled.
Yeah, he just
different
changes
things?
forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, imagine that, but
yeah.
for the shamans, they would shift elements, like
Ooh,
fire
that's kind of
to
interesting.
rock to water to air, and based on whatever spec that they're in, it would apply to that. Like each form would do something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like they would be able to go like water form, like so for example, like restoration shaman, like they'd be able to go water form, and then they would have channeled heals. Fire form would be hots. Earth form would be like shields, but it wouldn't like completely overwhelm the spec in the way where you'd completely want to be in one form.
So
all the
it would just
time.
give like a passive, and you could switch to obviously different forms during different times or something.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of interesting. And so every spec would have the forms they could go into.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? So enhancement would have its own versions. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Or you could just have like one that applies to all specs universally, right? Because I mean, I feel like that's a lot of work for Blizzard to do. But like if they had, you know, just in general, like certain specs, maybe like the Earth one, you just take like 10% less damage or 15%, and you slowly build up a shield on yourself or something. That would be kind of interesting. So obviously you go into that whenever you think you're going to take damage. A Tinker class. I do like Tinker, dude. Gnome and Goblin only. That would be really cool. But yeah, they just feel really weird right now. Like I kind of miss the days when there was actually kind of like a shaman tank spec. I actually think it would be really cool if we brought a tank spec, because there's no male tanks, I think, right? Like everything's either leather or plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be really cool if they had a tank spec, or like maybe part of enhancement. But
I mean, there's only 2 male spec classes in the game, right? So I mean, it's like,
I say screw it, dude. Give them a 4th spec.
just give me a Tinker class
And
that uses male
it focuses
or
around
not.
like rock biter and shit like that, and like when they hit, they gain like a shield, you know, or they have a lot of, you know, they get like armor and stuff that they can like put around them. Maybe they like put a earth wall up in front of them which blocks like 1 hit from the boss. I don't know, something interesting, you know.
Or they would like harden themselves against damage. you
Yeah,
know?
I think it should be all earth based, you know. generally. But yeah, all right. I guess we can move on from Shaman.
Yeah, that'd be fucking sick though.
But yeah, I think we agree the rework rather than a buff for almost all of Shaman. So
Yeah. So one thing that seemed pretty interesting, and so Brian being the longest veteran of the game, and Foxy being the next, and then me being the last. I feel like
for what?
Smiley face.
for this point that I was gonna ask you guys about.
Oh, okay.
In regards to Blizzard addressing community feedback, right? A lot of their posts, they kind of, from what I've read, it's been the same song and dance where they say, "Oh, we see your feedback. We're not ignoring it. We do see it. We're gonna address it, and we're gonna be better at it in the future." Right? This seems to have been said so many times throughout not only this AMA, but apparently in Blizzard's history altogether. Would you guys agree with that sentiment? And if so, why are they ignoring people?
I think. Oh, I don't know. I think it's just more of like a thing of our time right now. Like it seems like companies don't really hear people, and they don't really care to hear people because they know that people are gonna still keep using their shit. That's why I thought this AMA was actually kind of weird, because I just expected Blizzard to continue just to not give a shit about us. And I don't think this AMA really changed my opinion on that at all, actually. And I don't think it changed anyone's opinion. Like, nobody got the answers they wanted because they didn't really want any answers. Because there's just so much shit wrong right now that we didn't have any legitimate questions because they're not going to give us any legitimate answers, right? Like,
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, like, people weren't expecting legitimate answers despite asking legitimate questions.
Yeah. I think there's a lot going behind the scenes, too, that we probably just are completely unaware of and don't know about. But that's,
Yeah.
here nor there right now.
Random side note. Did you guys hear when they talked about the bugs? This is a feedback thing, because this has to do with players
What bugs?
talking. This has to do with players sending in bugs, and then them responding to it and actually fixing it, right? So when it was like this prominent person, they were like, "Hey, I've spent well over like hundreds of hours testing beta and stuff, and I sent you over hundreds of bugs, and only a few of them got fixed, despite me showing you like clear evidence and an explanation of how and when they happened." And Blizzard was like, "Oh, well, sorry, we're just a small team. And we have different channels that things have to be sent through before it reaches us. So we have a whole other department that takes care of that. And since they get such a large volume of bugs sent in, that they have to quickly label things, and things can get thrown in the dumpster really quickly." And as I was reading this, I was like, "Ooh, I don't like where this is going." And so then they were like, "So for example, if we get a bug where X player says X happened to them X times, like we can't replicate that, so that just goes into the dumpster." And I was like, "What?" Like,
Well, okay,
essentially, if they can't replicate it, they don't have the time to investigate it, so they just don't. And I was like, "Good God!" Like, can you imagine all the bugs we've sent in so far already? Like it.
I haven't honestly observed.
Well, allow me to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Advocate for 1 second. So, imagine like you have like whoever does the bug fixes, right? You have a certain amount of time, right? Exactly. So you have a certain amount of time to do your job, right? And you receive all these bugs on a day-to-day basis.
Do you have to prioritize like certain ones over others at that point? If you're
Yes.
such a small bug team,
So from
small indie company.
Well,
I mean-
hold on. So okay, let me put it into like some kind of context that's like relatable for me, right? So I do IT for a school district, right? And when someone has an issue, right, I need to go investigate the issue. But if I can't replicate it, then it's hard for me to solve an issue because I can't, myself, I don't, one, I only know of the issue through the person telling me it, and two, if I can't replicate it, then there technically isn't anything there for me to fix, right? So when you have issues on a grand scale and you're pressed for time and you're doing it on fucking World of Warcraft, which is literally the biggest game like in the world in terms of like MMO, like you're kind of gonna be like under a lot of pressure when it comes to that type of stuff, you know. So I don't necessarily. Okay, like I said, I'm just coming at it at a different perspective.
No, I know.
If they're having all these bugs come through and they want to efficiently get to the ones that are game breaking and impactful and easily able to replicate, then I could understand them kind of, I guess the term wouldn't be glossing over, but kind of, not prioritizing them as much as most other bugs, simply due to a time issue,
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how I view it.
I expect like a rare bug that recently popped up to be filed into that, but something that's been around since beta that so many people have told them about. Launch an investigation, attempt to figure it out. Like, I don't know, like the laser beam bug. Yeah, great fixes. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems crazy to me that, like, especially your dungeons. I feel like your dungeons and your raid should not have bugs that exist on such a large scale. Like, just use the same technology from your heroic, right? Like, the heroic doesn't have the bugs. Why did the mythic have the bug?
And then why do they say adjusted defense beams to address an issue that could cause sometimes instant damage to go off players on mythic difficulty, and then 2 days later the bug is still happening after it was apparently fixed? Like, why is that an issue?
Yeah, I mean, so again, like there are a lot of things that can occur that can't be accounted for. Like I said, I'm totally coming from a perspective of, of someone that has done IT before. Like, you are not gonna catch everything. Like, things are gonna slip through, and especially on a game of this scale that was built on that was written on code since like the 90s, or the early 2000s.
I mean, don't they have some kind of way to, like, mass test something? Like even like well, I mean, there's technology where you can take a system and you could just, like, reiterate multiple situations.
See, here's the thing. I think you guys are greatly underestimating the scale and what is actually required to get the game to work properly. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like you can run something 1,000 times to try to make sure it works properly, but on the 1,001th time it just happens to break for whatever reason, and it's usually inexplainable and you can't figure out why, because you're having to look at a million different factors that go into you just existing in the world. Like, for example, remember we were listening to the Classic Cast podcast, and how they were having to do all this shit just to have enough space for a player to exist on the server, and to make sure they had enough room for their bags. You know what I mean? And if they were working on that scale at that time, now imagine that over the time Blizzards existed or WoW's existed, and to what magnitude it's reached at this point. You know what I mean?
I understand why the bugs are there, but I feel like there needs to be a priority for certain bugs in the game, and if you can't fix it, like, really quickly, you like, shut the shit down and, like, redesign it. Like the lasers for Mythic, like, that's a deal breaker for me. If you couldn't fix that shit in, like, a couple hours, it's time to, like, turn the raid off and fix that shit.
And then say it's fixed, but it's still broken?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, like, you're looking at it from, like, the cost of that bug existing and being replicated as much as it's happened. They probably, that cost was probably lower to them than just shutting the raid down at that point. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a model where they analyze the cost and benefit of all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I doubt they're pulling numbers out of thin air, when it comes to applying for fixes. But
imagine that you've sent this bug in so many times in beta, and you see it in live. It just, I don't really know. I mean, you're making good arguments, but it just doesn't feel good. And I don't really know what they have to do, but I don't remember an expansion ever being this buggy. I really don't. Like, I don't remember a mythic ever being this bad in my life. Or even dungeons being so bad where you couldn't even finish them in Mythic Plus. Like, it's never been this bad. Like, I don't know. And people have sent it in over and over and over, and it's like, they're like, sorry, we're just experiencing a large volume. Like, quit fucking fixing pet battles and fix the real shit that matters. Like, I think that's the problem.
Thing, though. Okay, now look at it. Let's say, for example, a pet battle takes 5 minutes to fix, right? And this other thing that's an issue takes 2 hours to fix, right? The time cost between it's just value. Like you're looking for what's gonna be,
something tells me,
in the long term, most beneficial, most valuable. You know what I mean? And then you're also looking at, you also have to decide, oh, okay, maybe I don't fix this pet battle bug, but I go fix this other major mythic bug, and then you end up neglecting the pet battle bug. And
Fuck
the pet battle bug
people, dude. I don't give a fuck, dude.
But you're not looking at it from like a business perspective.
I am looking at it from a business perspective,
No,
dude.
you're not. Like, if you're looking at a business perspective, then you would understand that them addressing that.
Who's gonna take anyone seriously when they're like, sorry, my pet Fido's claw attack was bugged and it's one-shotting the enemy's rabbit? Like, who fucking cares, dude?
Because here's the thing. What's crazy? You may not know this, but that pet battle bug could have extensive damage to the game if not addressed as soon as possible.
The extensive damage to the game for the casuals was having nothing for them to fucking do.
No, I mean extensive damage
Like,
as in it can cause other issues elsewhere, totally unrelated to pet battles in the World of Warcraft. Because that's how, because the way that everything's coded and how it interacts, like you, it's almost impossible to really account for every scenario to exist.
Dude, someone quits the game over a bug pet battle. Good riddance. See you later, dude.
It's not like I said.
I'm happy I'm gone.
Yeah, but you're not.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's the thing, though. You're not looking at, like, it's not because of a pet battle that they're quitting, and that's not what they're worried about. They're worried about it affecting some other element of the game that it shouldn't be affecting.
What, like my mythic rating?
Yes.
So because Fido one-shots the bunny rabbit in a pet battle, the laser beams kill me and mother?
That could legitimately happen.
That's a world I don't want to live in, dude. Where's my rope?
Because it's a man-made world, and you're gonna have flaws, but you don't know what the impact of certain.
Okay.
On the world.
I can understand you're a traitor. You're one of them, Benji. Let's just move on. You're wrong, but it's okay.
You see, it's people like you that I fucking hate. Look, let me tell you, mate. I'm gonna fucking rant right now.
Oh,
so I used to work at the Apple store, you motherfucker, and we would have people like you be like, "Oh, why does Apple do this and this and this and this?" It's like, motherfucker, I didn't design that shit. And when it does happen to be an issue, I'm like, just fucking go buy another fucking phone. No one gives a shit about your issues, dude. Go buy a Samsung. Go fucking play Final Fantasy 14. You know? Sorry. I digress.
Oh boy. All right, next topic.
Okay. Next topic.
Islands?
I don't like them.
I don't like them. I think that who was it who brought up it? It was like in a I think it was the Classic Cast maybe, or a podcast they do. They were talking about, like, there's no reason to do them, right, outside of AP. And if you're gonna do the AP one, you're gonna do the heroic one because you can spam it like 1 billion times and it's just repetitive and boring.
Yeah,
so maybe have like a rating system with, like, you know, player versus player. Really try to get people into the player versus player one. But like maybe give us some gear or something for the mythic one, huh? Like give us something from it. Like maybe some kind of progression arc, or, you know, at least like maybe a thing you do once every day that gives you like a piece of loot, or I don't know, some reason. Like, give me a reward. Why am I in there? And they're like, oh, well, there's cosmetic shit. Like, whoever really does something just for cosmetic shit. Like,
what I think is ridiculous is being able to get all that high level gear off of PvP arena. Like, that should be.
I don't think PvP gear should be able to Titan Forge. Right? Like, I think that's a bad idea, because then you, like, I think it should just be good, but it shouldn't be able to Titan Forge. Like, they need to.
Foxy,
Yeah.
why should it Titan Forge?
Why should it? Get
Yeah,
him,
why
dude.
should it?
Get
Argue
because-
against Brian. Why is he wrong?
Well, I don't think he's wrong.
Oh shit! God damn it! I need an objective opinion in here. I am not educated enough to have a stance in this.
Well, you heard it here, boys.
I mean, you just have to think that, like, let's say a PvP piece of gear, right? I think have a base item level for a certain rating, okay? But the fact that you can just farm PvP and get an item level that's equivalent to, like, a raid piece of gear is just complete bullshit.
So,
But,
back in Wrath, I had a PvP as a Holy Paladin because I had to get a tome, right? I would not be doing that today because right now all the item levels are like low, but they can Titan Forge, right? So you're doing PvP because the base is like decent, but you're really thinking about, oh, if it Titan Forges, then it's a super good piece of gear, right? And so all you have to do is get like 2k rated, and you're earning with Titan Forge pieces like mythic rating gear. It's insane. Like, there needs to be like a hard cap on some of this shit. Just something the player base can actually hold on to, right? Like, I need to know some things. Like, I feel like everything's just RNG. All you have to do is get 2k rating. Okay, it's not that hard. It's really not. Like, okay, first of all, you can get 1600 right now and earn heroic level gear. That's stupid. Like, that's bronze elo basically. Like, 1600 is very easy to get. I don't know. I just feel like you gotta think about how difficult it is to raid. You gotta get 20 fucking idiots together on comms. Everyone had to have done a whole bunch of work beforehand to get raid ready. You gotta get pots, elixirs, everything. Everybody can't want to kill themselves or kill the other person. You have to actually perform. You have to know the mechanics. Think about all the bullshit that goes into just even doing a heroic raid. And you could just get that loot because you're doing PP with some nerds you've never met before at 1600.
you're just smashing
Like,
some kid, like...
Yeah, here's the thing. You're quoting the base item levels, but you're not considering Titan Forging. You can only do the raid once. I wouldn't be sitting here complaining if the raid was redoable. If we could just keep farming that raid over and over and over and getting all of our gear, hell yeah, sign me up. But we can't. They can just keep doing PvP over and over and over and over, and eventually they're going to get multiple Titan Forges. Like, I honestly believe if we were like 2k rated, the best way to get gear right now is to PvP. Like, it's insane. Like, I don't think it should be that high. I think that there should be very difficult pieces to get that you can get from PvP, but it's like very difficult to get that. But once you get it, like, that's it. You're done. Like, you got that piece, and then maybe there's like another level for like the challenger level people above that. But you're not 2k rated. I was 2.4k rated last expansion. I can get 2.4 if I want to, right? I can easily get 2k rated.
Okay, so Brian,
What?
what did you say? You said arena. The problem is that it's repeatable, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna argue against you right now. You ready?
Okay. All right.
Did you not just describe Mythic Plus?
Yeah. Obviously, raiders can do Mythic Plus. Sure.
Yeah. So then, would that just not be the equivalent for PvPers?
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't think like the argument here is why raid, not why do Mythic Plus. Everyone knows why you do Mythic Plus. Everyone knows why you do PvP now. It's dope. But why raid? Raiding is the pinnacle of this game, right? Raiding is the hardest fucking thing to do in this game.
Yeah, that I agree with.
Okay, so it needs to be the most rewarding, but it's not. Like, Mythic gear needs to be the top right now. But because other gear is the top, if it Titan Forges, like, it just doesn't feel like it's the top gear.
So then, do you think there should be an alternative to just, like, solely item level to where only PvEers get it?
I think Titan Forging should just be gone from the game in general. I do like War Forging. That's fine. Okay? So 5 to 10 item levels, that's okay. I can deal with that. That's livable. Okay? But what I don't ever want to see is I don't ever want to see a tier 2 jump to a tier 3. Ever. When you get a mythic piece, you should know automatically that it's better than your heroic piece. There should never be a case where your heroic piece Titan Forged and you use it over your mythic piece. It's fucking just disgusting to me. That mythic piece was so much more difficult to get. There should never be a case where the heroic piece is like better than that. And that's just like this is how it is, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Otherwise, you're gonna have what you have now, where the best fucking raiding guild in the world is streaming their prog because no one fucking cares about raiding anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even prestigious. No one cares, dude. Like, a bunch of guilds have quit the game, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, that's
Oh, if only they had certain gear with special bonuses that drop just from raids.
Give me
Fucking
gear.
Kappa Pride. I like that, dude. I
Does
man.
Azurite gear work in PvP?
Yes, it has reduced scaling on certain things though, because they were so broken they had to nerf it. Because people were getting one shot by like rogue traits, for example.
You mean the best rating guild in the world that's 13 hours behind second place? Yeah, I mean obviously they got shafted a bit, I think, from streaming, and they also had a slower start. But then again, Limit kind of
maybe Limit's just better.
I mean Limit did
No. Here's
basically-
the problem. You can say that NA had a better, like a faster start, but everyone got stuck on Fetid at the same exact point where it was literally impossible till they nerfed it.
I think it's basically fair, you know.
Like everyone basically caught up. And
Okay, they've been the best guild. You could, before this expansion, you would have said that they were the best guild. So, obviously, who cares? One of the best guilds, right?
Well, that and they're making money, so I don't think they're too upset.
No, they're not too upset. But the whole point that they were doing this is just because they don't see it as like worth it anymore
I don't
to hide
think
it.
that's the reason. I think the reason is they're gonna say, "Oh, there's no competition. We have it hands down." But like, why would you not monetize something that you were gonna do regardless?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I think it's purely for.
I
the
think it
money.
was
Like, they're
inevitable
just-
regardless.
They basically just figured out that, hey, you know, we might have just been doing it wrong all along.
Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot of money in it, but I obviously like there's a lot of guilds that quit, and I mean I don't know. I personally feel like there's just not that competition anymore, and it's because people know that there's not that much incentive behind it. Like we're basically raiding for bragging rights at this point, right?
Wasn't that what rating always was?
No, I mean obviously it was raiding for bragging rights, but you bragged because you had the gear. Also, I mean, I know I've mentioned this before, but I don't think raid gear should be transmoggable or gear
You
to
see,
be. Like,
I think it's
transmog to
really
it.
weird that you just said that.
What?
You do it for the gear.
Yes.
The reason, okay, I think that's weird because that's not what I think of. I think you do it for the achievement, the thing that says you were number one. You know
Sure,
what I mean?
an achievement's nice, but I mean, when I show up in my big dick fucking gear, and you know that it's the gear from the dungeon, that's why I do it. I do
Yeah,
it
but-
because I want my character to get more powerful.
I mean, everyone raids for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
This just comes down to like personal preference.
But I can't even show off my gear, and because first of all, my gear looks like donkey shit. Okay.
Because there's no tier.
Because just in general, like my gear looks stupid because they don't make good looking gear anymore because everyone transmogs their shit.
Well, also because there's no fucking.
If you
know,
couldn't
there's no
transmog,
tier set.
if you couldn't transmog your gear, they would have to make the gear from raids look at least somewhat cool, like a little bit cool.
I would say the last two expansions, like tier sets, have looked pretty good for the most part, in my opinion, at least.
I mean, but we don't have tier sets anymore, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
that's the issue.
So, but like everyone's just gonna transmog their shit anyways, right? Like it should be iconic. Like when I'm decked out in my old air gear, some little pleb should be running by and be like, "Holy shit, those are all mythic pieces." But that'll never happen in this game. That'll never happen ever again. Like no one will be able to ever judge a person just by their looks about how good they are, and that's a travesty in my opinion. Like I should be able to without looking at their health pool or their item level with an add-on. I should be able to just look at their fucking character and be like, "Oh shit, we got a big dick here. Like this dude's the real deal." But you don't have that anymore.
Okay, so think about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want?
I just told you.
No. Other than what your convention, what your traditional means of like making you know that you're a big dick raider.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically would you guys want to be given to you that would make you feel like you have something that no one else does because of what you have done?
Unique transmog.
Gear. That they
Gear
can't
that looks
transmog,
cool.
and that I can't transmog. That's pure and simple. Gear that no one else can achieve. Gear that's way better than everyone else's shit.
Yeah,
Like-
but
Like there should be no way to get gear in the game from any other source besides Mythic that can ever even reach within 10 item levels of it, in my opinion. Like, I think by default, Mythic gear should be like 10 item levels above everything in the game that's ever possible. Otherwise, why do it? Why are we here? Just to suffer.
I mean, what?
Why raid? Honestly, I could be getting better gear in Mythic Plus.
Yeah, we could be playing COD BR right now.
I can get better gear PvPing. Maybe
Hey,
better
Foxy.
gear from pet battles. Who knows, dude? The way this game's going.
Hey Foxy, you play that COD BR?
Yeah, dude, that's just lit.
Dude, it's fucking dope.
PUBG killer, dude.
This raid
gonna
gear's
have to
not
buy
very
it.
fancy. It's not. You need to learn to transmog. No, I will never transmog. Okay? I'm like that hippie who straps himself to the tree. I will die with this fucking transmog because this is what the raid gave me, and this is what I'm gonna fucking look like. Okay? Okay. That's a haha right there.
I transmog.
But the whole point is I'm win away with the fucking raid gives me because goddamn it, I earned it. And it's like, if I look like a stupid donkey, then that's what it is.
Ooh, I think auras would be dope.
Aura, like cosmetic sparkle trails.
Yeah, but like it's like significant. You know what I mean?
Like,
But yeah, I would like those auras to only be given.
Druid cat form. Spark.
Yeah. Imagine you got auras that only got given to you after you killed a mythic boss.
Okay.
Like some Goku Super Saiyan type shit.
But only
like-
when it's relevant. Like they can't go back to past expansions to get that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you know how when Goku transforms into Super Saiyan, like he
Yeah.
gets the golden aura. Imagine if you got like an aura for each boss you killed.
Weapon enchants that.
Yeah, but weapon enchants, but like on another level. Like honestly, like I can't really see the weapon enchant. Like this shit, mate. Like it'd be fucking.
The problem is
visible.
everything looks so goddamn shiny and crazy right now because everyone's allowed to transmog everything. That even when someone does bust out some insane like weapon aura thing, it won't even look that cool. Like essentially everyone already looks like a 9 out of 10. So if you bump your shit up to a 10 out of 10, it's like whoop de fucking do. Like back in the day when you were bland as shit, like it just so happened that the good pieces of gear are also the cool looking pieces of gear, and it should be that way. I think transmog does so much more damage than they even realize. I'm fine with transmog. I think outside of a raid setting, I just think raid gear in general, from like heroic and mythic, should be untransmograble. Moggerable? Yeah, I don't know. Some word I'm making up.
Yeah. I feel you. All right. Well, is there
Care
anything
about it
else?
at all. I mean, I care about not caring so much,
Yeah.
you know?
Then that just means.
I guess
Anyways.
that just means I care.
What how far, how much time, what's the time at?
I don't know. Should we quickly talk over some things, maybe? We were talking about Warfronts last time, right? They were like meh.
I want to see it one more time before I give a definitive opinion.
I mean,
Well, have you done the rare like farming yet?
no. What is that exactly? Like, I know there's all those
basically-
rares.
Basically, you can teleport to the zone now because we control it, and there's like a bunch of rares and quests you get for like order resources and.
So more world quests. is
Was
what
it
you're
fun? Was it
Uh,
difficult? Did it
I
feel
mean,
challenging?
you can't do it in a raid group, and I literally went and you couldn't do it in a raid group, so.
You just sold them.
No, I didn't even do them.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Itemization, tooltips, simulation, gear optimization. I think we already talked about that a little bit. The bug feedback, we talked about that. Content pacing. I mean, that's not a deal breaker for me yet. I know the patch is coming. Do we know when?
2.1?
Yeah.
No, probably after.
Oh, professions are like terrible right now.
I'd rather just play RuneScape if I was gonna do professions.
I barely
like-
know what professions are.
Professions are just like in such a bad state. I don't really know how they're gonna fix them. Honestly, you know what they need to do? They need to give back the thing where professions gave you buffs, because otherwise no one's gonna do it, right?
Specific ones, like everyone
Yep.
was what, like a miner. and
Well,
like
if you were a tank, you were a
Innocent
miner,
bullshit.
so you got the passive stamina buff. But everything had a different buff. Like if you were a jewel crafter, you got big gems. If you were a blacksmith, you got gem sockets. Like essentially everything gave you something for your character, and it was so worth it that you had to do it. Like it was essentially like a 5% bonus to your character. So, and it felt really cool because it basically incentivized everybody to actually do the professions, and that stimulated the economy. But now the only people doing the professions are just people that like are weird, like to do professions. They just want to make money, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. I think that you need to have, like, everybody should have a reason for making it, and like right now everything's so like it's like it binds your character, soul binds only your character, so like only you can work on your own gear, and you can't sell gear anymore, which I guess is like, I don't really know how I feel about that. I find that the mats required to make the gear that I want is so ridiculously high. Like getting the necessary amount of like a spolsum or whatever it is, right? Or like hydra cores and all that shit. It's just so ridiculous. Like you have to put so much time and effort into it for what? For a piece of gear that you could have just randomly Titan forged anyways. Like that's the problem. Is these crazy crafted just do PvP. Like these crazy crafted gear means nothing when you could just randomly Titan forge something that's just better. Like if I at least knew what the cap was on all the rest of the item level, if I'm working towards constructing this piece of gear and it's super difficult, it would have a lot of prestigious impact if I knew it was the highest item level. Like that's the best piece of gear I can have. And then somebody when they're walking by could see that piece of gear and be like, holy shit, this guy crafted the whatever the fuck pants, you know? But like we don't have any of that. First of all, everyone's transmogs, we already went over that. But even then, you just Titan forge any random piece of gear from anywhere, and it would be better than those stupid dumbass pants that I could have crafted anyways. So why am I putting all this time and effort into it? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's random what stats it even has. It doesn't even have a name either. Because no one cares about names on pieces of gear anymore. I can name you all kinds of different vanilla pieces of loot. And what boss, and I can remember I can remember when I got those pieces of loot. That's how much of an impact it had on me. From a private server. Like, I can't tell you where I got any of my loot and why it matters, right? From my character as we speak.
Yeah.
I don't care about it, because I'll just replace it with something else that randomly Titan forged. So,
Yeah.
Progression, catch-up mechanics. I think the catch-up mechanics are... let's talk about the rep, right? I think when you already have Exalted rep, we should have the thing from last expansion, which was already system in place, where it would give you, like, another cache. So you had a reason to farm rep with people that you were already Exalted with. Also, I think your reps should carry over to your other characters, the ones that matter. Like, I think the Champions at Azeroth rep, like, all your other characters should be, like, one behind what your main character is, right? So if you're Exalted on your main character, all your alts should just start as Revered. Right? At least have some kind of catch-up mechanic like that, because farming rep on your alts just feels god-awful.
The only problem with that is they don't want everyone's alt to be able to buy 350 purples from, like, the rep vendors instantly, so...
I personally feel like if you put the work in on your main character, then you're good. And I think that there should be dailies. I'm actually kind of hating world quests right now. I think that they just don't really matter, and that there's just so many of them, and they're so annoying to do.
I think they need to stop giving us bullshit AP world quests. Like,
I mean, those are like the
184.
Yeah.
There needs to be more of the 236 ones.
You think they should all just be like homogenized, like all the same?
I don't know, man. Just give more. Like, I don't know. Like, you shouldn't have to put in the same effort for a 184, same as a 236.
That's true. Yeah. Like, if it's gonna give more, it should feel harder, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like the challenges are random, along with the rewards are also random. Like, just because you're heading to something that gives like 300 AP doesn't mean it's going to be any harder at all. It actually sometimes is typically easier, because that means it's a kill quest. The kill quests are easier than the collecting quest.
And it makes you not want to do the lower ones, because you're like, what the fuck am I doing this for?
Yeah.
You know?
And
like there's this time lost.
Well, the incentive behind farming all of this is that we get more things in our neck, but it's not like the artifact weapon where I felt like, I knew what I was working towards, right? The artifact weapon was actually so much more fun, because you gotta do this right now. Can't mute yourself.
Set a reminder at 5 p.m. to do island expeditions.
No, you're
such
a
Jesus
fucking
Christ!
dude.
Are you serious? Where are you gonna go, dude? It's trying to sell you a cruise.
Appreciate it. I've almost forgot to do those bitches. I need to fucking.
Oh,
do those.
heavens forbid, dude. I know you're gonna have a blast. You sounded really like you're really excited about it.
No, I need that AP though.
Yeah. See, that's okay. That's the problem, right? So on our weapons, you at least knew what you were working towards, right? It's sort of like similar to old talent trees from vanilla. You knew what you were looking forward to when you're going to level up. You're, oh my god, I'm going to get another point into improved corruption or whatever, right? Like when your artifact weapon, it was like, oh my god, my next point I'm going to unlock, my flash shields have a chance to give me 20% increased ceiling when I crit with them. Oh my god, that's so cool. This one, we're like, what do you get from going 18 to 19? Fucking nothing.
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 19 to 20?
Nothing. Pretty much the entire time. Nothing. You just, like, what? You're looking at your Azurite gear, but, like, nah. At least, like, maybe if, like, all of it leveled up when you got another rank in your neck, that would be sort of interesting. But we need something to drive towards, right? We need something. If we're farming all this AP for all of our lives, we need something every single level that we'll look forward to and go, oh my god, I can't wait till I get that. Right? You get neck item levels. Well, the problem is when the neck gives every stat, it doesn't mean anything.
This is my issue. Why is our Heart of Azeroth beating, bleeding, came from the planet my lowest item level piece of gear? Like, why is it 369? like, why is it not higher item level than a piece I can get from a mythic raid, right? Like,
or PvP, dude.
Why
Don't
is
forget.
it so? Why is it so donkey, dude?
The conspiracy.
Yeah. The Azurite gear not being our obvious highest item levels also feels really bad, right? Like, at least, and I realize they don't have secondary stats, so it's really all just an illusion. But
It's just item level.
illusion.
bad.
What are you hiding? But like,
We're effectively just like 340 item level actually, like in terms of power.
yeah, actually, because they robbed us of secondary stats and they only give us primaries on those. But like, at least you know what? Okay, here's something I would do for the Azurite gear. This is a little bit more interesting. This might be a reason why you would chase to the end. The Azurite gear last tick should not give 5 item levels. It should instead put a secondary stat on the piece of gear of your choice.
That'd be fucking sick.
Right?
Oh my god. No, that'd be so broken.
Why would it be broken? It would be at least a.
But here's the thing. The reason
You would
the
turn a
reason-
bad
no,
piece
no, no,
of
no.
gear into a god.
Then you'd care about the item level, Benji.
See, but here's the reason they can't do that is because at that point, then it gives all these mythic world first raiders something to actually farm towards. It makes it easier broken because at the moment, the 5 item levels is the most donkey, like minimal increase to anything ever, right? So like,
Here's all the great reasons why they're not going to do that. Like, I love it.
that would be cool and all, but
Wait, there's a reason for all the mythic raiders to play the game?
I mean,
Oh no.
All right. Let's wrap this shit up. I gotta go to bed.
let's wrap
Oh.
it up. Like
Oh, we gotta go. Benji's gotta go to bed, dude. He's gotta wake up and do islands in the morning.
Bedtime.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he's
gotta
got
do
islands to do, dude. You got
We
islands.
got fucking islands to do, bro. Fucking doing the arm thing, bro.
There's actually a lot of shit we didn't even get to, but I
For
mean,
next week.
Dude, Neko, you need to be on the podcast, dude. I love talking to you. You're fucking
Yeah, he
fun
is a
talking.
great. He's a big
Yeah.
brain, dude. Biggest
I-
brain person in the goat, I think.
I
Anyways.
think there's a lot of problems right now, and if they all got fixed, it would be one of the greatest expansions ever.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
there's
Anyways,
no way.
I mean, if you guys want to keep going, next week I'll be on the podcast.
Ooh.
Hell yeah, confirmed. We have that. Neko will
Alright.
be on the.
Then
next
Benji
week.
doesn't have to play devil's advocate. Because
Hell
I know
yeah.
Neko will. No camera. Ooh, you better have a good picture ready, dude.
But I have a good baby.
Oh,
picture.
Brian, my package got sent to your place. Did you get it?
Oh, your package, huh? Wait, you're the one who bought me the pig?
Oh my god! Hey, show it on stream.
You gave it to one of those rat children.
Yeah, I didn't know where it came from, so I just gave it to one of the monkeys. God
Brian,
knows.
I bought that for you.
Lord knows where that pig
He
is
said,
now.
"There's
Dude,
no."
do you know why I bought it?
There's
No.
So you can squeeze your hog.
Where'd that cost you? Where'd that set you back, dude? I want to hear how much money you wasted. $5, $10, $15?
It was only like $12.
$12. You wasted $12 on a joke? Jesus
That's
Christ.
some monkey shot already broken.
That could have been a 10-pack of monsters, dude. Look at me, I'm dying over here.
Real money now.
Also, Endeavor where? Yeah, Endeavor's here in town, but he's at a hotel. He was too tuckered out, didn't want to hang out tonight. You know, maybe we could have squeezed my hog together, but
Dude, the hog makes noise too.
I am well aware. Yeah.
Go fucking get it, dude. That's for your stream.
Okay, yeah. It's only, what time is it?
monkey
only
children have
only
already
12:24 a.m. Let me barge into their fucking room and steal their pig toy from them.
No, it's your pig toy. You motherfucker.
Not anymore.
Dude, that shit's so fucking funny. I'm squeezing my you didn't have to say it anymore.
He said he had no clue. He's like, I got this fucking pig in the mail. I have no clue who sent it. I'm just gonna give it to one of these monkey children.
Wait, when did he say that?
Like a day ago or 2 days ago when he got it. He was like, I don't know, someone's stalking me. They're trying to make a fat joke.
Oh man, that meme is so funny. I'm gonna keep squeezing my hog even if you ban me. So now when you see something you like, you just pull up the pig and... yeah, squeezing that hog. Anyways, this is where I think we're gonna end the podcast. Unfortunately, I can't stop the recording, so I'm gonna have to edit in the end. Anyways, everyone, I appreciate you guys for chatting in the chat, for viewing with your eyeballs, and for being part of this experience.
I couldn't find the hog, but I did find a two-headed snake.
You find that fucking hog, dude.
What?
Maybe the snake ate the hog.
Okay, we're ending. Okay, good night.
Bye.
Now I can stroke my snake.
Neko-chan.
Hit the end recording button, you piece of shit.
How do you know I'm not recording? Or how do you know I'm
What if we
recording?
didn't record the whole thing?
Fucking mad.
What if it's never been pressed this whole time?
I'm leaving the call right now.